Toastmaster Ayushi, Ghosts of the Past, Toastmaster Ayushi.
Let me begin with a simple image. Picture an elephant, strong, powerful, majestic. From the moment it was born, it was tied to a small rope. It pulled, tugged, and struggled and strained, and eventually it gave up. The rope was too strong, and his escape seemed impossible. As the years passed, the elephant grows to weigh thousands of pounds. It could easily rip the rope from the ground, but it never tries. The rope still holds it, not because it can, but because the elephant believes that it can. I believe that as humans, we carry such ropes in our mind, ropes of fear, doubt, past experiences. We stay in the same place, avoid the same conversations, hold back from taking the leap, all because of something that used to be true. And like that elephant, we stop testing our limits, even after the rope is long gone. This idea became real for me, not just as a metaphor, but when I was 5 years old. My father had decided it was time for me to learn how to swim. And instead of starting with floaties or gently easing me in like anyone normally would, he simply decided to push me inside the pool. I was taken by surprise and completely panicked. Now, before you all panic just like I did, yes, there was a trained instructor nearby. He wasn't trying to traumatize me. He just believed that sometimes the only way to truly learn something was to jump in, figuratively and literally. And I just had to figure out how to come back on top. But I was 5. My brain couldn't comprehend or understand what was happening around me. I didn't understand what was going on. All I knew in that moment was that I was surrounded by water and it felt endless. In that moment, I had two choices. I could either panic and flail, or I could let go of the fear and trust myself to rise. And something amazing happened. I swam. I made it to the edge by myself without any help. I think that single moment changed me. It taught me something that I think everyone should know. Because suddenly, the water was no longer something that I wanted to fear. It became something to love. Swimming, floating, just being by the beach also. It gave me a sense of presence, of being alive. It reminded me that when I stopped letting fear lead the way, I discovered something beautiful. That the swimming pool became a place of peace for me. But the real shift didn't happen in the water that day. It happened in my mind. We often think that the things outside us, like our background or our past, are what limits us. But in truth, it's the voice inside us that says you can't. You can't start over, or you can't change paths. You can't trust life without knowing what's next. But let me tell you something, that voice isn't real. It's not real unless you want it to be real, unless you believe it to be real. It's like a song that my mother once sang to me. Ke sara sara. Loosely translated, it means whatever will be, will be. It sounds simple enough, even passive, but it holds real power. Because when you live in fear, when you're stuck in that loop of what ifs and worst case scenarios, you're trying to control something that was never truly yours to control, the future. This phrase isn't about giving up, it's about letting go. It's about trusting that you cannot plan every wave, but you can learn to swim. That you do not need to know what comes next to enjoy what's here right now. I was reminded of that lesson deeply once when I was on a trip with my family to Israel. We'd spent the day walking through Tel Aviv, and it felt like a perfect moment. Honestly, a dream come true. I felt like a Disney princess in my dress, and my family all around me. One of those rare days where completely present without any stress. But after just one day, the night, everything changed. Sirens began to wail through the city, and we were rushed to a shelter. Not long after, the announcement came that the state that I was in had a war had been declared. The contrast of peace that I felt during the day and the fear I felt during the night has stayed with me ever since. Because in that moment, it became so clear that nothing is ever guaranteed, not peace, not time, not even a tomorrow. And that can sound terrifying until you realize that it is also freeing. It means that the only thing that's ever really ours is this moment, not what comes before, not what might come next, but just this breath, this hour, this day, this meet. That experience didn't just shake me, it grounded me. It taught me that no matter how uncertain the world becomes, I can always return to the present. I can always choose to be here and still find joy even if the future is blurry. So, regardless of what's stopping you to learn from taking the leap, jump into the metaphorical pool, whether it's a new experience or simply a shift in the mindset. Take one bold step and you might just surprise yourself. Being present isn't just some spiritual cliche, as most of you might think. It's practically a superpower. It's the ability to say that right now, I'm not who I was 5 years ago. I'm not who I was even 5 minutes ago. You do not need to keep holding on to the stories that were written by fear. You do not need to replay what could have been or what should have happened. And you definitely don't need to carry every version of yourself that you've ever been in your life. You do not need to fight everything. You do not have to have all the answers of life. We simply need to trust that you too can rise again and again, because you are not made of stone, my friend. You too are made of water. Thank you.